Hey, I have several interesting astrological events to share for this video. So, not only will there be a blood moon eclipse tonight around 3 a.m., beginning at 3 a.m. for some, and it depends on where you live, but during sunrise, they say that it will be continuing. So they say the now this it sounds impossible. They say and it should be impossible, but they claim that the sun and moon will both the moon will already set and the sun will be already rising, but due to the refraction around the Earth's atmosphere, they say we are going to witness this event at the same time. They said a sunrise will be happening at the same time as the setting moon. So the eclipse will be seen while the sun is rising. But I wondered if the Earth's shadow, I mean, if the Earth's shadow is what causes the blood moon eclipse, then how could the sun be rising at the same time as the eclipse? But anyway, that's what they're saying. They said it should be impossible, but due to refraction, it's going to happen. Here it is. The eclipsed setting moon and rising sun simultaneously. Now that's just something that you just don't see. They say that's just never. If I'm not pronouncing this correctly, I apologize. Selenelian? Selenelian? On November 8th, this will be happening. Observers across central and eastern United States and Canada should pay very close particular attention to the setting full moon on the morning of November 8th. So during that eclipse, that full moon will be setting for that morning's lunar eclipse. It will still be in progress. It will start in the early morning hours, but as the sun is rising, apparently the full moon eclipse will still be in progress while the sun's in the sky. So that's almost impossible, really. I mean, they said it's an interesting observation to attempt that morning would be to view the eclipsed setting moon and the rising sun simultaneously. It's a little used name for the effect. It's called a selenilion, a phenomenon that celestial geometry says cannot happen. So they literally say this cannot happen, and yet here it is. They said, indeed, I apologize, the screen's moving incorrectly. There we go. And indeed, during a lunar eclipse, the sun and moon are exactly 180 degrees apart in the sky. So, in a perfect alignment like this, called a syzygy, whatever, such an observation would seem impossible. Syzygy. It would seem impossible, but they said, remember, thanks to our atmosphere, the images of both the sun and the moon are apparently lifted above the horizon by atmospheric refraction. So this allows us to see the sun for several extra minutes before it actually has risen. So, and the moon for several extra minutes after it has actually set. So that's what they say is going to happen. As a consequence of the atmospheric trick for many localities east of the Mississippi, there will be a chance to observe this unusual sight firsthand. Now, that's another interesting thing. The big 2024 eclipse also will happen in these areas as well. The Great American Eclipse number 2, 7 years after 2017's eclipse. This unusual sight firsthand, a November shadow event, a short window of roughly 4 to 9 minutes, depending on your location, will be possible to view the simultaneous event of seeing the sun rising in the east while the eclipsed moon is setting in the west, which is pretty much almost impossible, they say. So the greatest part of the eclipse happens right there at that time, depending on where you're at. The totality will end at 6:42, 5:42 Central. The Newfoundland, they said, the start of the partial stage begins 80 minutes before moonset. So it all depends upon where you're located. You can see the table below. I'm going to put the link to this article below, or try to. So at about 6:17, let's see here, our time, so about 6:17 Central. Very interesting. And on top of that, for our election day here, we have a solar storm after the sun was seemingly smiling at us like, I'm gonna get you. The solar storm smashed a hole in Earth's magnetosphere today, triggering extremely rare pink auroras. That's just very rare. A lot of rarities happening. So you've got the very rare pink auroras, a hole in the magnetosphere, which is now if there's a giant hole in the magnetosphere and then another sunblast happens, that could be problematic. That huge solar flare then just hit the Earth today, causing blackouts in Australia and New Zealand. So, yeah, that's a big deal. So we've got that happening, and we've had many near misses. If it had been 24 hours earlier, it was either last month or the month before. If it had been 24 hours earlier, and that sunblast that took place, the solar storm, this one was a G5, I believe, but they said or C5, whichever one's the worst. They said that if it had been 24 hours earlier, we'd have had global blackout. And no one would have known until they found out there's literally no communication and no electricity anywhere. So we just narrowly missed another one. And you just never know anymore. You've got all of these things happening at once. Now, they claimed on Halloween NASA caught the sun smiling down on us. But that grin, they said that could signal a solar storm. That sinister smile has Earth on solar storm watch. Now, that was on Halloween weekend. And then that was the supposed image. Real, fake, I don't know anymore. But it was very interesting. All right, that's the astrological news. We have got a double. I mean, it's just, there's so much going on. We've got the sun smiled down on us supposedly, and then solar blast happens today, and there's a storm hitting Florida, major winds in the western United States, extreme heat and warm weather here, and then it's going to turn winter, starting, for us anyway, it's going to turn very, very wintry. I think I'll put some of my weather predictions out, but I think, I don't know. I think some November snow events and December precipitation is likely. I think we'll get a few snow events in December, but I do think late November there might be a snow event for Tennessee. I don't know. Maybe not, but the weather can change like a light, so. But I think that there'll be quite a bit of rain possible throughout December with some snow here and there, but that right there is very interesting. That sun smiling down on us. We've got a somehow or other, they claim because of the refraction of the light in the Earth's atmosphere, we're going to see the sun rise and the moon set at the same time during an eclipse. So they said that should seemingly be impossible, and it is impossible, but there it is. So, and it's going to happen. And then there was a big solar eruption that blacked out, caused radio blackouts in Australia and New Zealand today. Signing out, that's the update.